All right, let's dive into an incredible story from ancient history that acts as this powerful case study in leadership. It's about a man who's on his way to becoming king, and he faces two very, very different enemies. And how he handles them, well, that reveals everything about the true test of character. So, think about this for a second. What's the tougher challenge? Is it staring down a huge systemic threat with everything on the line? Or is it keeping your cool when someone personally and publicly disrespects you? We're going to explore this through the eyes of David, a future king who's literally on the run for his life. So let's set the stage because the situation is incredibly tense. You have the current king, Saul, who's become paranoid and jealous, and he is hunting David like an animal. And then you have David, the young hero, anointed to be the next king, but forced to live as a fugitive in the desert. His character is literally being forged in fire. And what's so fascinating is that the book of 1 Samuel gives us these two back-to-back events that happen one right after the other. They act as this perfect comparison. Two totally different enemies, two totally different tests, but for one single future king. Okay, so let's get into test number one. King Saul has gathered 3,000 of his elite soldiers. He's cornered David and his small band of followers in the rocky desert of En-Gedi. I mean, the walls are closing in. It really looks like this could be the end for David. And then something happens that you just can't make up. Saul, the king, looking for a private place to relieve himself, wanders into the exact cave where David and his men are hiding in the shadows. All of a sudden, the man trying to kill David is right there, completely exposed and vulnerable. You can just imagine David's men, right? They're whispering frantically in the dark. This is it. This is a gift from God. The Lord has delivered him to you. End this now. But David sees something else. He doesn't see an opportunity for revenge. He sees a test of his principles. He absolutely refuses to harm the king because he believes the king is the Lord's anointed. So instead of using a sword to take a life, David uses a knife to do something much more clever. He creeps up and secretly slices off a corner of Saul's robe. Then later, when Saul is a safe distance away, David calls out to him and holds up the piece of cloth. The message is crystal clear. Look, I was close enough to kill you, and I chose not to. I am not your enemy. And Saul's reaction is stunning. He breaks down and he admits it right then and there. You are more righteous than I am. He even says, I know that you will surely be king. So, test number one, David passes with flying colors. He trusted in a higher justice instead of taking it into his own hands, and his character was completely vindicated. So David's just had this massive moral victory. You'd think he's on top of the world, right? Well, not so fast, because right on the heels of this comes test number two, and it couldn't be more different. This one involves a guy named Nabal. The text says he's super rich, but also surly and mean. And get this, his name, Nabal, literally means fool. So here's the deal. For a while now, David's men had been protecting Nabal's shepherds and flocks out in the wild, basically free security. So, during a festival, David sends a few of his men with a very polite request for some supplies. And Nabal's response? It's just dripping with contempt. He basically says, David, who's that? Just some runaway servant. It's a deep, personal insult. And David's reaction this time? He completely loses it. The same man who just spared the king who was actively trying to murder him now hears this insult and boom, he straps on his sword and gets 400 of his men ready to ride. The response is just wildly out of proportion. I mean, just listen to this oath. He is seeing red. He is so consumed by rage that he's about to wipe out every single male in Nabal's entire household, many of whom are completely innocent. All that restraint, all that high-minded principle we just saw with Saul, it's gone. He is about to fail this test in the worst way possible. But just when it seems like a massacre is inevitable, a true hero steps into the story, Nabal's wife, Abigail. The text describes her as both intelligent and beautiful. When one of the servants runs to her and tells her what's about to happen, she doesn't panic. She acts immediately. And she doesn't just act, she acts decisively. Look at this list. This isn't just a small apology gift. This is a massive, logistical operation. She's gathering an enormous amount of food and provisions. It's her way of saying, my foolish husband was wrong, here is the payment and respect you are owed. But the food is just the opening act. Her real weapon is her wisdom. She intercepts David on the road, bows before him, and makes this brilliant appeal. She's not just begging for her family's life, she's appealing to David's destiny. She's basically saying, you are going to be king. Don't stay in your conscience and your future by taking personal revenge against a fool. She's trying to save David from himself. And what's so telling about David's character is that he listens. He could have been too proud, too angry to be stopped, but he hears her wisdom, and it's like a bucket of cold water. He immediately snaps out of it, and he even praises God for sending her to stop him from doing something so terribly wrong. So what do we do with this? We have these two stories, side by side. One where David is a model of restraint, and the other where he's a hot-headed warlord. When you put them together, they tell us something really profound about justice, ego, and what it really means to lead. And the story has one last perfect twist. Abigail goes home and tells her husband, Nabal, how close he came to being annihilated. The shock is so great that he has a stroke. And then, 10 days later, the text says, the Lord struck Nabal and he died. Justice was served, but David didn't have to lift a finger. It was the ultimate lesson: leave vengeance to a higher power. You know, when you lay it out like this, the contrast is just staggering. Against the massive, systemic threat to his life, King Saul, David's reaction was all about principle. But when he was faced with a small, personal insult from a fool, his ego took over and he reacted with pure rage. He absolutely aced a huge test of power, but he almost failed the much more intimate test of pride. And that really gets to the core of it, doesn't it? It suggests that the truest test of our character isn't always how we act in the big life-or-death moments. Sometimes, the real test is how we handle those small, personal slights, the moments when our pride is wounded and our honor feels like it's on the line. So that leaves us with this final thought. David was lucky. He had an external voice of wisdom, Abigail, who showed up at just the right moment to stop him. But for us, in our own lives, when our ego gets bruised and our first instinct is to lash out, how do we find that voice of wisdom inside ourselves to keep us from making a mistake we'll regret?